Hello. Oh, well, there you go. Good afternoon, MCM Comic-Con! It's so lovely to see you all here. We're so grateful, honestly, to everyone that we were able to see over there. Oh my God, thank you. To everyone who wasn't able to make it, I hope this kind of makes up for it. We've got a great panel. We've got some Magnus protocol info coming up for you. I think a few of you might have heard of that, maybe. Okay, we've got 4 panelists. I'm going to introduce them to you. We've got a Lowri Davies, April Sumner, Alexander J. Newall, and Jonathan Sims. Have fun.
Hello, everyone.
Johnny likes me better than you, Alex.
So good.
Hello. Thank you. Such an overwhelming number of people for coming to listen to us talk.
Sorry, what?
Behaving? Are we behaving?
No.
We're not behaving.
We don't behave.
Okay, good. I'm Lowri Davies, she, her, and I see some faces that I met earlier. Lovely to see you again. I was a producer and a voice actor in Magnus Archives, and I will be in and editing some of Protocol. So that's who I am. April, would you like to go next? Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm April Sumner. I'm the executive producer for the Magnus Archives and the Magnus Protocol. I'm also the executive producer of all the shows here at Rusty Quill. And I also do the art and am the horrible creator of Mr. Bonso.
I will never forgive her. And Johnny?
Hi, I'm Johnny Sims, he, him. Several years ago, I started appearing in the back of all of Alex's photos, wherever they were taken. And I just got closer and closer and closer until he gave me a podcast.
That's how I remember it. Alexander J. Newall, founder of Rusty Quill. I direct the Magnus Archives and other shows. Protocol as well. Look at me.
That is one of the shows.
And may have voiced a minor character, but I don't think it's that big a deal.
No one remembers him.
They just voiced some guys.
It's just a guy, you know?
Just a couple of guys. So, we're going to start this panel by showing a little trailer, and I think we're ready for it now, if the tech team are ready as well.
A little sneak peek.
Well, let's...
Yeah.
Yes, let's all listen to our really quiet and carefully constructed creepy trailer.
Come in.
Hi. Sorry, I hope I'm not too early. The email said 9 p.m., but
That's quite all right. Please take a seat. Samama, isn't it?
Sam is fine.
Very good. Thank you for coming in. Alice has spoken highly of you. You went to university together, I believe?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you have a strong CV, decent cover letter, and you present well.
Oh, thank you.
So you do not want this job.
Listen, if you think I'm overqualified,
It would be difficult not to be. But no, it's not that. To be more accurate, you shouldn't want this job. This kind of work, it isn't for everybody.
I'm not sure I understand.
You are clearly a bright, sociable, and ambitious young man who works hard.
So?
So I have no use for you.
Please. Look, I need this.
The hours are punishing, and the work is both monotonous and unpleasant. You will have few social interactions, and depression is highly likely.
Not a problem.
In that case, I have an aptitude question for you. What is the worst thing you've ever seen?
I'm sorry?
You've seen a friend or relative die, perhaps? An accident? Maybe some kind of violent crime? Something stranger, then? Maybe something you've never been able to explain and no one would ever believe. Be honest now, Sam, or I can't offer you the job.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you for your time, Sam. We'll be in touch.
More bass. More bass.
Love the boom.
Perfectly equalized for a huge echoey hall.
Music to production for Magnus. More boom.
More boom.
I was ready to make a joke, but I actually got a little bit goosebumpy then.
It's a good boom.
I really like it.
So we're going to start, and we're going to pretend that no one here knows anything about Magnus, to cater for the people who don't know anything about Magnus, because I think that's only right. And we'd like Alex and Johnny, and April, please do contribute as well, but I wanted to narrow it down a bit. Could we have a bit of an overview of what the Magnus Protocol is? A bit of an introduction to it, please.
Fever dream of an overambitious writer and director.
Great.
So, Magnus asks the question, what if there was spooky stuff? You know, what if you were just going through your life and something sinister happened? The core idea of the Magnus Archives was that there was an archivist who compiled and transcribed statements given to the Magnus Institute, which were inexplicable, horrific, and borderline supernatural in nature. And obviously from there it goes all sorts of weird places. The Magnus Protocol is a sequel. It is not connected in any way, or at least you do not actually need to have listened to the Magnus Archives to enjoy it. It follows the career of Sumner Khalid, who is a new hire at the Office of Incident Assessment and Report, which is a obscure branch.
Not sinister at all.
Which is an obscure branch of the British Civil Service that is just sort of compiling data. I wouldn't worry about what sort of data. It's mainly an office comedy.
No one has ever done anything evil or sinister with data, Johnny, okay?
True. Until now.
Very mundane, non-spooky data entry.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds riveting, actually. Yeah, I'm in.
How else are we supposed to promote it more than that?
Good question. What would you say? What would fans of the Magnus Archives, what should they expect from Protocol?
Do you want to field this one to begin with, Alex?
Tell you what, Johnny, what would you have said in its heart the Magnus Archives is about?
Fear.
So I'd definitely then say that the Magnus Protocol is about what makes a person, I think a lot of it. Also fear.
Going deep with,
Lots of
and then
fear.
some fear, a little dash of
Fair
it.
enough. In which case I would say the Archives was about, like, what makes a person a monster.
Yeah, and this is what makes a person a person.
In terms of more practical, you can expect both more of the same, but also none of the same. But some of the same, but not much of the same, but also all of the same.
This is what happens when you tell Johnny to keep it vague.
The vibes should be intact, but a lot of your expectations will be, to one degree or another, confounded, I would say.
I'd also say moving from fan of what you guys are making to actually starting to work on the show, and now being one of the people helping develop Protocol, if you have enjoyed the like individual sort of separate spooky stories that you can get with each of them, but then also like a spooky overarching plot, you're still going to get that with Protocol. And the thoughts that these guys have put into it is really, I think, going to be amazing.
Aw.
Yeah, that's right. You give me a microphone, I'm going to compliment you in front of everyone.
Stop it.
Move on, Lowri, move on!
No, I was enjoying the tension. That's actually a really good segue into how, like, behind the scenes rather than story focused. How has it been different making Protocol compared to Archives? Is there a difference, like in the writing, the production? I mean, I know there is.
Yeah, there's a big difference. I mean, Archives started out as me and Alex in like just a living room. I was under a sheet, he was behind a computer, like
As you do.
most episodes
We were
written.
recording a horror series as my life slowly burned down. That was how Archive started.
Like, if I was really on it, an episode would be written almost a full day before recording. If I was really on it.
Oh, I miss those days.
And as Archives went on, like Rusty Quill grew, more and more people got involved, and the quality like really jumped. But at the end of the day, it still had that slightly chaotic core to it. We were never completely ahead. Protocol is starting from a much more like professional, I guess, place, which is weird for me.
Thanks.
Yeah, well, no, it's good. It's just weird. I'm having to write episodes out of order. I'm like, Alex isn't I'm not constantly involved in everything because there's generally people to do it. So I'm very much just sort of doing the writing, doing the recording, and then hearing the episode and being like, oh, that's really good.
I'm curious, Lowri. So you're one of the few people who've been on the production side, sort of at both ends at this point now.
Yeah.
You've sort of done out front and out back. I know what it was like in Archives, especially towards the end. I'm curious, Lowri, what do you think? How would you describe the sort of production habits of Archives versus Protocol to date?
The word that comes to mind is karma. Because it was a bit, we are that cliche laying the tracks in front of the train with Archives, where it was like, it's coming out, and it's got to keep coming out, so we got to keep doing this. Whereas with Protocol, it's like, we have time. But don't take it for granted. But we have time.
More people than just Johnny and Alex now know what happens. So.
I will say that I'm not producing it at all. So to me, I'm like, this is lovely. I just get told when to turn up and say words into a microphone. Excellent. This feels really chill for me. April's view of we have time might be very different.
That, correct.
Okay, sorry.
No, Lowri back when we were making Archives, Lowri was the one chasing Johnny the day before recording.
I feel
somehow
like that
getting
paints a
it
bad
out.
picture of Johnny. It doesn't. Some of that
There
was
was
me
never
going.
a recording where the script wasn't finished.
By the end of the recording.
Like, look.
By the start of the recording.
We
More
can
or
We were
agree to
less.
learning our
disagree.
jobs on the go, some of us.
Nowadays, Johnny gets like a week in advance of getting a Word document of things that are coming out at the end of the week.
You have plenty of notice. You have plenty
Let's
of
put it
notice.
this way. April's introduced a new rule, which is I'm no longer allowed to just what I used to call pay the blood price, which is where you just do it. It's due out tomorrow, so I'll just do it.
Yeah, I
sleep.
don't-
And
I
you
will
just do
say
it all in one go, and then wonder
production-
why you feel awful. It's not a good way of working.
Yeah, production-wise, the biggest change, I think, from Archives to Protocol is making sure that Alex sleeps now.
I hate it. I strongly encourage it in others, though.
But yeah, the sleeping, yes. And I do not encourage the mode of work, push yourself too far. That's not okay.
No,
I do not
it's-
endorse that. No one endorses that.
No.
Bad. That is bad.
There's any takeaway, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Sleep. Sleep is important.
Did we just tell our live audience, go to sleep?
Yeah. now.
Just out of it. Go on.
Have a nap.
We're putting on a show, but we want everyone to just take a
exhausted.
collective nap.
Just have a nap.
How many? I'm very curious. How many people fall asleep listening to the Magnus archives?
Shit.
I don't understand.
You're a
What the
sleepy
fuck?
boy, Johnny.
Look, the thing is, I get it. I have also used ghost
Do you use
stories
your
and
own
horror.
voice to go to sleep?
No.
It's okay.
Ghost
Alex and
stories
Johnny put me to sleep too.
It's just the scale. I knew that it was like quite a few, but that was a sea of hands.
So going back into the story a little bit. We're going to be meeting, there is a story, I've been assured, that we're going to be meeting some new characters. Are there any characters that you're particularly excited for people to meet?
I mean, I'm really psyched about the whole like core quartet. Like,
I have to admit, our core performers, and I'm kind of obliged to say it, but I kind of mean it as well. They're really strong.
Yeah.
Our cast for this are really,
yeah, I'm
really
looking
strong.
at you, Anusia.
Yeah, I see you over there.
Everyone say hi, Gwen.
She plays Gwen.
Lingering. Watching, always watching. Hello.
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 Crashing.
I'm sorry, we don't have a mic for you. I think.
You've
Oh, you're
summoned her.
invited. Oh, that's all right
Those
then.
of you that don't know, this is this is one of our performers, Anusia. She is playing Gwendolyn Bouchard.
I am.
She was just here anyway, so we thought.
I'm just here as a massive nerd. I'm not here officially.
Yeah, we saw her, so we decided to rope her into things.
Pretty much.
Sorry, that was. But yeah, Sam and Alice and Gwen and Lena and what's the?
Is it Lynn?
No,
I don't know.
There's
Celia.
Celia, and
Celia.
Celia are
Oh,
all.
God, yeah, you're
Yeah.
in this, aren't you?
I am in it. You gave me
Oh,
a job
yeah, I
again.
remember now.
I was very grateful.
This is going to sound like a soundbite. I'm really going to enjoy the fact that you all know pain is coming this time and don't know who, and I do.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great.
It's
because
everyone, Alex.
It's yeah.
It's just that we know what flavour of pain.
I think it's going to hit all the notes people want, but yeah, I admit I'm looking forward to watching, well, I say watch, I'm just looking forward to watching people realize they don't know as much as they think they know is going on.
Also, I'm really because like with Archives, it took like what 3 seasons to build up into like a full sort of ensemble audio drama. This one we're going straight in with like the full cast, which means that like we can get messy with stuff.
I'm going to spend them like pennies.
We have so many characters because Alex and Johnny keep wanting to kill them.
Nonsense. They just find ways to die in the story. It's not.
Don't know how it keeps happening.
Lowri over here playing Celia, who's only read a few episodes at this point. It's just,
I have no idea what's going on.
am I in danger?
I've read to episode 10, I think.
If you're in Magnus, you're in danger.
Oh, no.
Everyone on this stage except April is in danger.
It's like you get to an episode and you see who's recording with you and you just go, oh, God.
Oh, you and I are very different. I'd have been sat there going, oh, they made it to this one. Woo!
I've been scheduling them out of order so somebody will come in and be like, oh, I've got an episode. And I'm like, yeah, this might be your last one.
There's one character in particular that I'm thinking of that I don't think I'll ever forgive April for. And actually, there is cosplay of them already, and I don't know
Somebody's
if
got the
they're
head. There it
here.
is.
There it is.
Oh, God. He's awful.
I love how
do you make
jiggly
cosplay
his
for a
eyes
thing
are.
that doesn't exist yet? How does that happen?
I need you guys to
They have
understand
the ARG images.
that there were a good 3 months of conversations with these two trying to nail down the perfect amount of like visual horror.
To be fair, I feel a bit bad with all the focus on Bonso to a certain degree because I think a lot of people have like really put him at the center of their theorizing, and I'm like, I mean, slight spoilers, but he's not that close to the center of everything. He's just a horrible mutant.
You can't prove he's not at the center,
You
Johnny.
can't prove it, but...
And also, you say that we do actually have a clip dedicated
Yes, we do.
to the creation of Mr. Bonso. And I think it would be quite nice to watch it now.
You're in charge. I'm
Yeah,
along
well,
for
I
the
mean,
ride.
it was a question
I'd love to watch
aimed
it.
past you, actually.
I'm phrasing it like a question. It's an order, Alex.
Are we going to get rumbly?
Oh,
I think we're going to get a
it's about to
little
happen.
rumbly again.
Ah, there we go.
Mr. Bonso, who is one of the monsters in the Magnus Protocol, is very much based off of Mr. Blobby. For those that didn't grow up in the 90s in the UK, Mr. Blobby is a terrifying abomination on his own. I'm not remotely qualified to describe the terror that is this, except for it's very similar to Furbies, I think. Like, there was just a very 90s aesthetic for these types of horrible creatures that were cute in a very unsettling way.
It was something about the two-tone voice where he speaks like at two different, like slightly clashing, dissonant noises come out of his mouth.
Yeah, like
that
it's so distorted in such a weird way.
Because it's that equivalent almost to like when you're scratching your nails on a board. Is his voice to me? Like it's doesn't. Yeah.
I can hear it. I can hear it in my head right now.
Yeah.
I went through so many iterations of what Mr. Bonso's design was going to look like. The first version came after a joke when Alex and I were in a chat, and basically we decided the theme of when we were trying to like work through things. Anytime we got stuck or frustrated, we'd be like, Mr. Bonso says, "Get
Mr. Bonso needs to be up. Mr. Bonzo needs to give every single person who encounters this audio nightmares.
You're being sensitive.
Are
I want
we
everyone
allowed
to
to
go,
say that? Should we just talk
it's
through
Mr.
this
Blobby.
part?
Oh,
Ignore that word.
oh no, that's not
We
a
didn't
suit.
edit a
There's
bleeped
something
version of it.
inside.
So I made this little, just quick design of Mr. Bonzo, which had like inverted Mr. Blobby colors and just said
Like honestly, that needs to be like the takeaway for Mr. Bonzo is like, Mr. Bonzo's here. Get fucked. This is awful. Like, awful.
And then the ARG started up, and we
Moving
started
on.
figuring out how we were going to connect everything with the ARG. The idea for Bonzo.land came up for the website, and Sebastian did an amazing job on that. And we started putting together this website for Bonzo Land, and I was like, okay, well, we need to be able to come up with a color theme. We need to like actually start finalizing. So when I started actually like really digging into it, there's a few different methods that I
gets so
tried.
much
So
worse.
I took some of the initial sketches and I just kind of tried reworking those and working with a few different models. I was really having a hard time with this design just because I've done semi-realism before, but trying to do monster design is something that was really new to me. I would kind of multitask while I was working or problem solving or things like that. And so I would just do little sketches of Mr. Bonzo, then I'd send them to Alex or other people in the leadership or Magnus Protocol chats and just be like, hey, is this okay? I tried creating a design in Blender just so that I could like 3D image like how he would pose and move, which like modeling in Blender is fine. The problem that I ran into was trying to actually render it when it was done. So I would create these models or even these test models with very, very basic shapes. But then as soon as I actually started going in and trying to color them, my computer made the most awful noise. And then I eventually just scrapped that idea because I was like, I don't actually know how to use Blender. I'm teaching myself how to use this new program and that's not helping. But I still felt like I needed to 3D model because I needed to get a sense for how his whole shape was. I tried doing a clay design. So I got some polymer clay and I created this like little model of Mr. Bonso. So once I had actually gone through and I created this little 3D model, I was like, oh, wouldn't it be really funny if I made his nose detachable? So I made it to where like his nose falls off, which then when I showed Alex these pictures, like, hey, here's sort of the concept that I'm thinking of, like, here's a few different angles, what do you think? He was just like, yeah, I really like the idea of having 2 different versions. Basically, we decided that we really needed to make him awful, but we also really needed to make him likable in that cutesy, creepy 90s way. I made the one version for the website, which is basically like his suit is really big and he's got a top hat. And then I had to create the monster version of that design. And so I sent a few different versions to Alex and Johnny, and they were like, cool, this is a 6 on a creepy scale. Let's dial him up to like a 9. And I think he turned out awful. Really, really awful. Ultimately, I'm pretty satisfied with where we got, and I hope that he terrifies people, and I am extremely excited for people to actually get to hear how awful he is in the context of the show. Alex and Johnny certainly did a fantastic job with the writing side of it, and it is going to be a journey, and I really hope that people enjoy it.
I'm just never going to forgive April for creating him. He haunts my dreams already.
He's going to find his way into your suitcases as well.
No, I don't like
I mean, really, the blame rests solely with Noel Edmonds, I think.
100% yes.
Okay. Anything you want to add to that, April? Or are you like, I'm done? And,
I think I said a lot. Yeah. I covered it.
Just says, leaning over and being like, do you feel this bad when you hear your voice? And it's like, yes, April, that's normal.
There's a reason I'm normally behind the scenes.
I think we have time for a few questions. If anyone has a question, possibly should have given you a heads up at the start to start thinking about questions, but think of them now. Oh, I've seen a few hands go up when you're in the pink dress.
Who went up first, Lowri? Who went up first?
Jess, pink dress, you're first.
Yep.
Okay, and then we're
Belly.
1, 2, and one at the back.
Hello. Oh, wow, that is loud. I'm Rose. I first started watching the gaming podcast in June of 2015.
Wow.
Thank you. My question is, will any of the original voice actors from the Rusty Quill gaming podcast be returning to the Magnus protocol?
What an interestingly worded question.
I think the answer should be yes.
It should be.
I know, you know what, I could say yes, because worst comes to worst, that's just Alex.
That's true. So technically, yes.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Now I can say, definitely yes.
Maybe
Oh, I
just
know,
Alex.
right? Isn't it the worst?
Maybe.
Alex is like
certainly
Rusty
there's
Quill
an
Gaming. I was
intention,
in
and I'll
that.
leave it at that.
Okay.
A lot of that is sort of production stuff that is still, like, being nailed down.
Yeah, should, yes, will, meteorite strikes happen.
Okay, wonderfully evaded. So let's move on to the next question to not answer.
This is a question about the archives. Do you have a favorite statement survivor? Because I do.
Favorite statement survivor. I think I forget the first name I gave him, but Skinner, the guy, the plumber from the Welsh factory. What about you, Alex?
And yes, I must say, having examined this incredibly creepy taxidermy shop where everything is trying to kill me, there was no money laundering, so it's A-okay in my book. I respect that. I respect a good work ethic. I'm okay with that.
Anusia, you've listened to a huge amount of the Magnus archives. What's yours?
Again, apologies with names, but I think guy who walks out of Spiral because he's going to be late for dinner is pretty peak.
Martin is actually back there.
I would, Martin's sitting back there.
Hey, Martin.
Hi, Martin.
That's guy who was going to be late for dinner, everybody.
Yeah.
Also our IT guy.
I would also say Joshua Gillespie, which...
The classic.
There's a fun story for that. Ryan, who is playing Colin in Protocol, is an undertaker as his day job. I've asked him before if I can tell this story. And he did not start listening to Magnus Archives until being cast in Protocol. He was working around a bunch of coffins when he was listening to Do Not Open.
I did not know he was an undertaker. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's
that
got some
makes
stories.
so much. Yeah, he's now I'm like, oh, I hear it now.
Yeah, right.
Mine is Celia, just because it means I get to do more, which I'm very happy about. And we're ready for the next question, please.
My name's Teresa. I started listening a couple of years ago and absolutely love the archives. I think they're amazing. The creepy book with the spider, what happened in your head? Where did that come from? Because that scared
which creepy book?
You know, the one that he's reading the book and he's walking along and he ends up at the door.
Guess for Mr. Spider.
Guess for Mr.
Spider, yeah.
The thing was, I listened to that on a night shift in the lab at Halloween and was not right for the rest of my shift because I was on my own.
So it turns out as a writer, I have a slight knack for creepy kids book prose because I'll be honest, Guess for Mr. Spider was written at 4 a.m. on a coach back from Edinburgh because I had a deadline due and I was like, what is the quickest, most what can I just churn out? What can I, creepy kids book. I mean, creepy kids book, it's a bit obvious, it's a bit cheap, I guess, but I guess it'll do. And so I did it, and turns out it's the best episode I wrote.
And life isn't fair and there is no justice. That's what it is.
It's just one of those things where it drives home that often your own thoughts about your writing don't necessarily reflect what's actually coming out, and often you will accidentally stumble into a voice or a manner of story that really resonates with you. And the thing is, I think, what a phoned-in story. Which what that actually means is, turns out I'm actually just really good at writing creepy kids books, and I find that very easy. So to me, I'm like, just bashed it out. But yeah. Well, the Monty Cook RPG campaign had putting together a version of it for one of their goals, which I think is going to be really good.
Seen the previses. It's grim. In a good way, but
that snapshot of Alex's face is on the review page.
Alex, I never started doing this before we hung out. Now I'm always going that's a you mannerism.
We all pick up a little bit of Alex mannerisms. We're all frustrated by it.
So, moving on.
Do you have another question
Hello.
from the back?
Running with the theme of a next level of professionality and stuff that you mentioned earlier on Magnus Protocol, has or have Johnny's stage directions improved at all?
They were perfect before. They have remained so.
I've been writing quite a lot of the stage directions myself. They're very functional. I know the weather in every single scene now.
I can now judge Alex's stage directions, and
Which
they
are
are no
fabulous.
better.
Can I just say, having read the scripts, his teeth are not soft.
I thought that was a very helpful stage direction.
It's awful.
This
It's
character
wonderful.
enters, his teeth are not soft. That's an important fact.
It haunts my dreams.
His teeth aren't soft.
Anusha was reading the scripts and sends me a text message, and it's just, his teeth are not soft.
They're not soft.
And you moaned about...
It's important for the sound
and you
design.
moaned about the world goes wrong.
Something eating
At least that's something you can hear.
Something eating your leg with a wet sponge for teeth sounds very differently from something that's eating your leg and has, a live, active lawnmower for each of its teeth, as an example.
But one assumes teeth are not soft.
But sometimes we have to be very clear on these
I
things.
don't think you should assume anything in
I mean,
Magnus.
that's okay, fair.
His teeth are not soft.
I'm going to move us on from the
They're
not
not.
soft teeth because it's upsetting me. I believe we
Great
have
question.
another-
Please continue selling Johnny down the river.
I believe we have another question. Is there a couple? Oh, there we are. Hello.
Yeah, we can't see where the microphone is. Hello? Can you hear that?
Yes.
Yep.
Was there any element, or did you find it hard to come up with the sort of premise?
Sorry, you're going to need to hold it quite close
It's
to your
very
mouth.
loud
It's
at your
very-
end and it's very quiet at our end.
Oh, sorry. Was there any element that you found, or like the general premise of the Magnus Protocol that you found hard coming up with?
Was that what we found hard coming up with? Was there an aspect of the Magnus Protocol that we found particularly difficult coming up with, like an element of the premise?
The beat sheet.
Ah,
Alex made me write
what's
a beat sheet.
Why don't you explain what they are to people?
It's where you have to detail every scene in every episode for every series before you can start writing any of them.
It's
And
where
it's
all
long,
of protocol
and
is
it's
written.
boring.
I'm a big fan of them.
So from a
I know
like,
they're good. I just hate them.
Eat your greens, Johnny.
So from a conceptual standpoint, obviously, yeah, the beat sheets, I'd say there are... The first season was actually, from a premise standpoint, really easy, because Johnny and I met in the job that we are portraying there. We were both doing that job, and that sounds like an exaggeration.
Well, the non-supernatural version of that job.
But, you strip out the supernatural, and it was all very close to the bone. For me, the ones that were a bit more interesting and challenging are Season 2, no, I won't tell you about it. You'll just have to figure it out when it turns up. And as always, you end up going through various versions of an ending. Yes, we know the ending because you have to, but you always sort of do the like, here's the ending. Oh, but what if we did this? Then it'd be better ending. Ending 2. Oh, what if we did this? That'd be even better. I don't know what version we're on at this point, so you know what the ending is, but you
Definitely not the final one, because we
yeah,
got three
you
more seasons
refine,
to get
you
through.
tweak, and you improve, so you know the vibe. But yeah, so I'd say the endings had the most work. The second season had the most talking about, but I really can't go into any of that.
There was also a lot of stuff where, like, there were certain characters we really wanted to use and were would work really well, but we weren't sure whether or not, like, from writing before any of the production had been done and being like, oh, we'd really love to bring this character back or do something with this character, but we don't know if that voice actor is like wants to come back, if they're like, you know, halfway across the world and not able to do stuff. So there was a lot of stuff where we were like penciling in characters, being like, oh, it would be really nice if this character could be here, but if not, we're going to need to write someone else, you know?
And with no context, I did stop Johnny from killing billions of people. That's not a joke, and no, I won't be giving any context.
In fiction...
Well,
that's the
You're
only
welcome,
context.
saving billions of lives daily.
Let's move to the next question, please.
Oh, Jess, there's some people down here who are... Oh, are we... Oh, we've got... Oh, what's...
I think we've lost control of the microphone.
I had a really quick question. What was everyone's favorite spooky book?
Was that spooky book?
Your favorite
Yes.
spooky bit or book?
Book, I think.
Book.
What's your favorite spooky book?
What, in Magnus or just generally?
Just in general,
Just
I think.
general. Just for your favourite spooky book.
Okay. I mean, I am still going to say Ex Altiora because it's got everything I could want in a Magnus episode, and it's also set on my birthday in terms of when the statement was taken.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that.
Go and listen to it. It's the 21st of December. I'm
Stop
not
giving
lying.
out personally identifiable information in a large, crowded hall.
They don't know the year or anything else.
Oh, that's all right then.
Probably the battered old copy of the collected ghost stories of M.R. James that I have had since I was a kid, and I don't remember where I bought it, but it's real. It's looking real rough.
I think when I was younger, I was mad for Dracula, the best sci-fi book. However, I'm going to recommend a book I keep recommending. No one ever bothers to read, so I'm going to keep recommending it, which is Lanark, A Life in 4 Books. That is a weird book I strongly recommend, and it's odd and upsetting in all the ways that are interesting. No one gets around to reading it, and I doubt anyone here will. Lanark, A Life in 4 Books. It is a weird read I thoroughly recommend. It's part of the Western literary canon, but people tend to forget about it.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, read it.
Never heard Alex mention it. I would go classic with, I'm a big Edgar Allan Poe fan, so Cask of Amontillado is always like a story that stuck with me.
Ironically, horror is not my genre. So I kind of tapped out the point horror books. I'd have to go with Forbidden Game, that teenage classic, which I'm sure everyone knows really, really well. And we're going to have time for one more question before we wrap it up. I'm so sorry.
No, Jess,
We're running
there are
out of
some
time.
folks down the front who have been waiting for, or do we have one already?
I literally can't see.
I can't see. Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Just quickly shout out Sci-Fi Fantasy Society at Cardiff Uni. We love Joshua Gillespie, the best alumni of Cardiff University. My question's for Johnny. Do you know about the fact that Hello John has become our fandom's version of the Rickroll?
Yeah, yes, I know.
And if you do, how do you feel about it?
I mean, there are certain lines that when you write them, you're like, this line is going to haunt me, but it's too good not to include. Good Cows was another. I wrote that and I was like, I'm going to hear this fucking
Oh, yeah,
line
we saw Good Cows coming a mile
for
off.
decades. And Hello John, apologies for the deception. Well, like, I didn't know that it was going to like become quite the meme it was, but I was like, I think this is gonna hit. But it is gratifying to see that you are correct in your predictions, but also, I mean, you hear it a lot. People, it is present in maybe 30% of the messages that we get from like fans. So I'm broadly aware.
We are going to sneak in one quick last question because you've been waiting very patiently. Thank you.
No pressure.
Both like books and also podcasts. How does the process differ between writing for audio and then writing for literature? Like, what are the different things?
That's a really good question.
That is a really good question. So every medium is very different, and a lot of it is in terms of content in terms of what works from a scary point of view. You know, if you're working in audio, different things hit in audio than in books, than in visual medium, than in comics or film or TV, or all these things have their own advantages and disadvantages, and a lot is to do with consuming a lot of that media in the genre that you're looking to work, and figuring out what hits, figuring out what it does well, and how to do it from a practical point of view. From my point, a lot of it is, a book is such a big thing. I have always been very much a deadline person, as Alex will attest. And with sort of audio drama scripts, that's something that I can bash out in a day or two. So I can ride a deadline for an audio drama script in a way I can't ride a deadline for.
If you can do them in a day, why is it the day before?
I mean, because I don't want to do it before then. It's procrastination. But you can't really do that with... shout out to procrastination. Wouldn't be here without you.
Alex just likes to pretend that he's better than Johnny at that.
I'm well into the episodes for season 2, I'll have you know. How dare you?
And obviously you can't do that with a 100,000 word manuscript. So a lot of that is just sort of discipline and figuring out. Writing internal stuff as well is very different, because in audio and you really have the dialogue to show a character's emotional and mental states. In literature, you can dive into that a lot more, but it's also easy to become bogged down in it. But really interesting. I suggest try both. You know, see how you feel about either.
Hot take: I think it's harder writing audio than it is writing prose.
I think it is harder to write
100,000-word book than to write a bunch of shorter episodes. I think word for word, I need to take more care with a script than with a book, but there are just more words in a book.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Thank you. That was a great last question. Thank you very much. And I think that's us. We're done.
Thank you all so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
And listen out for Magnus Protocol when?
The Magnus Protocol premieres in January. If you want early access to our little preview pilot, you can get that at the Knights and Nobles tiers on our Patreon, patreon.com/therustyquill.
There you go.
That's why I handed that to April.
The Magnus Protocol is a podcast distributed by Rusty Quill under a non-commercial.
Oh, come on! It's distributed by Rusty Quill, licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share Alike 4.0 international license. Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share Alike
And
4.0
on that
international
note-
license. Come on, guys.
Thank you everyone for coming.
All right.
Thanks again to our panelists.
See you all again soon!
We're being silenced.